please, after this day, don't call me MVP because until I win it again next year.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, one of the league's best players, a specimen that we have never seen before. We have never seen that length, strength, agility, and ball handling combination in the history of the game, and it's definitely showing as he's dominated the NBA so far this year like few we've ever seen. So few that I believe this season, Giannis Antetokounmpo deserves the second unanimous MVP in NBA history. What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how historical Giannis' season has been, why I believe he's been playing up to a level that deserves to be the league's unanimous MVP, and much more. I'm going to need y'all to drop a like on this video. I'm going to be bold with this one. Let's go ahead and try to get 5,000 likes by the next video. And let me know which album y'all think inspired the thumbnail for this video. I've been trying to step up my thumbnail game, so I hope you guys like this one as well. It's not an unknown fact that Giannis has taken over the 2020 NBA season. If y'all have been subscribed to my channel since the beginning of the season, Giannis was my pick to be this year's MVP. As I told y'all, he would still be able to put up terrific numbers. He'd still be able to lead the Bucks to one of the best records in the league, all while his competitors such as LeBron, Harden, and Kawhi would have an Anthony Davis, a Russell Westbrook, and a Paul George by their side, while Giannis would have Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe, which would help with his narrative case. And that's exactly how the season played out. But I didn't expect Giannis to be as dominant as he has been. I knew it was going to be extremely hard to top a season in which he averaged 28 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and shot 58% from the field while leading the Bucks to a 60-win season. But Giannis has somehow done it, as this year, Giannis is averaging 30 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, on still 55% shooting from the field while attempting 5 threes a game on 31% shooting. Giannis has somehow managed to up his production. And the craziest part is his minutes continue to go down. As since the 2018 season, Giannis' minutes have gone down from 36.7 minutes to 32.8 minutes, and this year being 30.7 minutes a game. To put those numbers into more perspective, let's look at his per 36. As per 36 minutes, Giannis is averaging a ridiculous 35 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists on that efficiency. And while I know per 36 is a flawed metric in some regards and in some contexts, it is helpful in putting numbers like this into perspective, as it's cases like this where their numbers aren't done enough justice by simply looking at their surface per game averages when they're blowing teams out going into the fourth quarter because of how dominant they were in the first three. Also compare that to, let's say, James Harden, who's averaging 35 points in 37 minutes. If you scale those numbers down to per 36, you can see that Giannis' scoring output is pretty comparable to James Harden despite averaging 5 less points a game. But aside from the sheer number of points in that time span, I'm also impressed in his improvement from the 3 this year. Now I understand that 31% from 3 is not anything elite, but just consider where Giannis was just last year. Consider where he was a couple years ago. For Giannis to gain the confidence to even take 5 threes a game is a leap that a player like Ben Simmons is not even close to yet. But for him to shoot over 30% to me, considering what our perception of his shooting skills were, is such a huge leap. We were all making these fantasies of Giannis having a jump shot. Like, imagine if Giannis had a jump shot. And I can't even say slowly anymore because this is a pretty big leap, but he is surely making strides towards that super player. None more evident than this year. Defensively, he's been Defensive Player of the Year level once again, as most people have either Gobert or Anthony Davis or Giannis winning the award, and I actually think he has a stronger case this year than last year, as the Bucks have the best defense in the league by a pretty wide margin, all while Giannis has the highest individual defensive rating in the league. But man, just screw the numbers. The man is pretty much the perfect defender for the modern NBA. A player who can defend the perimeter, defend the paint. You can put him on a James Harden or a Kyrie Irving. You can put him on a Joel Embiid or a Rudy Gobert. He can switch everything. I mean, what else can you ask for defensively? But above all, the most impressive thing Giannis has improved on is simply translating his numbers into more wins, as Giannis, as of the making of this video, has led the Bucks to a 50-8 record, by far the best record in the league, on pace to win an astonishing 70-71 games if they keep it up, a feat only accomplished by 2 teams in league history. those two teams being the 1996 Chicago Bulls and the 2016 Golden State Warriors. That's it. And at the helm of that locomotive has been Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has shown tremendous leadership and durability, only missing 4 games so far this season. So I didn't know exactly where to put it in the video, but I also just wanted to give a shout out to Chris Middleton, who I believe doesn't get the credit that he deserves. But like I said earlier, Giannis doesn't have an Anthony Davis or a Paul George or a Russell Westbrook by his side. A player who's been a star for years, have been MVP candidates themselves. Chris Middleton has been quietly having a historical season himself. As this season, Chris Middleton is averaging a tremendous 21 points, 6 rebounds and 4 assists on, get this, 51% from the field, 44% from 3, and 91% from the line, all in just 30 minutes of play, becoming one of the few players in NBA history to be part of the 50-40-90 club. Again, this is another case where per 36 comes in handy, as if you translate it, Middleton per 36 minutes is averaging 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists on that efficiency. That's absolutely amazing. And while I said that in terms of names, it does work in Giannis's favor that Chris Middleton is a second option, again, for narrative's sake. Make no mistake, Giannis does have help. As great as Giannis has been, you don't just win 65 to 70 games by yourself. And his main source of star level help has come from Chris Middleton, who has definitely stepped it up this year, alongside a tremendous coach who has implemented a great system that has tremendous spacing to a roster deep enough to only have Giannis and Middleton play roughly 30 minutes a game.
He is the first unanimous selection in the entire history of the NBA.
Now, how do you get a unanimous MVP? Because if we look throughout NBA history, there's only been one, meaning that having a historic season is not enough. Well, there's a couple of factors. One, there's the element of comparing your season to the field, and secondly, the media does also play a huge part in specifically getting a unanimous MVP. By definition, a unanimous MVP is when a player receives all the first place votes from all of the official NBA voters. Every single one. And while Stephen Curry is the only unanimous MVP in NBA history, he definitely should not have been the first one. For example, let's look at Shaquille O'Neal's 2000 NBA season campaign. A season in which Shaquille O'Neal led the Lakers to 67 wins, averaged 30 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks on great efficiency, with Kobe Bryant missing 16 games. I mean, how much more can you really ask from a player? Shaquille O'Neal should have been a unanimous MVP. However, there was one voter who voted for Allen Iverson. One.
That same year, you were 1 vote shy of becoming unanimous MVP.
Idiot Hickman.
I was going to ask, you remember his name?
Yeah,
you hate him.
I do.
Did you ever talk to him about it?
I don't need to talk to him.
Has he ever tried to apologize? He voted for Allen Iverson.
There's nothing to apologize about because he destroyed history being a
Mind you, in the overall MVP race, Allen Iverson finished 7th because players like Kevin Garnett, Alonzo Mourning, and Karl Malone received way more second place votes that it superseded Allen Iverson's 1 first place vote. The same thing happened to LeBron in 2013, a season in which he averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, played Defensive Player of the Year caliber defense, shot 57% from the field and 41% from 3, led the Miami Heat to a league best 66 wins, yet he didn't get a unanimous MVP. You know why? Because one voter, again just one, decided that Carmelo Anthony deserved it over him that year. And shout out to Basketball Examined for making this video on the screen right now on why Rachel Nichols should not be an official NBA voter. In it, he talks about Rachel Nichols' inconsistencies with her voting, more specifically when it comes to her all defensive selections, and proving the fact that she does vote with emotion being a factor than just pure facts. I'll leave a link in the description for that video. Now, the reason I say that is not to specifically target Rachel Nichols. My point is, what happened to LeBron in 2013, what happened to Shaq in 2000, can happen to Giannis this year. All it takes is one. But that's just the media part. Like I said earlier, there's also the factor of how far away a player is from the rest of the field. because I believe James Harden in 2018 had a stronger case for a unanimous MVP than most people think. The man averaged 30 points, 9 assists and 5 rebounds on really good efficiency and led the Rockets to a league best 65 wins. However, due to some really weak arguments for LeBron James, revolving around what he was doing at his age and totals and minute differences in their stats, and the narrative that he was doing less with more, James Harden, while yes winning the MVP, had to give up 15 first place votes to LeBron. Heck, even last year in 2019, Giannis kinda went through the same thing, as Harden had a great season and received 23 first place votes because of this narrative that he was doing more with less. You can be the MVP frontrunner by a wide margin, but to get a unanimous MVP, the gap between you and number 2 has to be clear as daylight. And it looks like this year the number 2 will be LeBron James. LeBron James this year has been phenomenal. The numbers he's putting up in the overall season he's having as a 35-year-old in his 17th year in the league is spectacular. The man is putting up 25 points, 8 rebounds, and a league best 11 assists on his usual great efficiency, all while leading the Lakers, the most storied franchise in the NBA, with all the pressure that he has after acquiring Anthony Davis to live up to all that hype, while also being the tougher Western Conference to a record that's on pace for 64 wins is highly impressive. While LeBron James won't win MVP this year, I genuinely don't think enough people are talking about the Lakers and the fact that they're on track to win 63 to 64 games. However, going back to Giannis, the question is the gap between Giannis and LeBron big enough for a unanimous MVP? I believe it is. Let me just get in my bag and let me get under LeBron fans' skin real quick. Let's go back to 2018. Because y'all told me in 2018 that Harden did not deserve MVP over LeBron because of this graphic on the screen right now, shown on Colin Cowherd's The Herd. A graphic that essentially relied on totals and checking off boxes. Y'all have been telling me for the past couple of years that LeBron scoring X career points and fewer shots than MJ or Kobe or whoever it is says a lot. Well, here we are, right? And Giannis has significantly more points, more blocks, more rebounds, a higher field goal percentage, a higher true shooting percentage. And since y'all want to use advanced stats and not really know what they mean, let me go ahead and do the same thing for argument's sake. As Giannis this season has a higher offensive rating, has a higher defensive rating, PER, value over replacement, win shares per 48 minutes, box plus minus, all in less minutes, less shots, and less games. All while having less help than LeBron and leading his team to a better record. And you might be saying, well, conferences, right? Conferences can't be a factor when in 2009, LeBron won MVP by a wide margin, despite Kobe leading the Lakers to 65 wins, just one less win than LeBron and the Cavs 66 in a much tougher Western Conference. My point is, even if you're a die-hard LeBron fan, the case for LeBron being an MVP over Giannis is a very weak one given the arguments that y'all have been using to hype up your own man and the precedent that his own awards have given. And while we're talking about flawed arguments, let's go ahead and talk about this take that's been gaining some steam around social media, started by James Harden, that Giannis is really not that good, that he's just tall and dunks, that players like James Harden and Kyrie are better basketball players than Giannis because they're more skilled.
You know, but I wish I could just run and with 7 feet and run and just dunk. Like, that takes no skill at all. I gotta actually learn how to play basketball and how to have skill, you know?
Man, will y'all stop it? Will y'all stop it? This is just as bad as that he's a better all-around player argument that novices use in Jordan versus LeBron or Curry versus Westbrook debates. I'm just confused. What the heck y'all want Giannis to do? Giannis is one of the strongest players in the league. Giannis is 7 feet tall. Giannis is much quicker than most people his height, has the requisite skills to ball by them from the perimeter, or can simply overpower smaller players. What do y'all want him to do? Shoot mid-range fadeaways the whole game? Even though he added that to his arsenal this year and it's been one of his signature moves? Do you not want him to use his strengths to his advantage? That's like looking at Shaq and saying, yeah, you won 3 straight championships and 3 finals MVPs and was a 30-10 guy on a nightly basis, but if we're keeping it a buck, were you better than Tracy McGrady though? I mean, you were just big. Now Tracy McGrady, that's a basketball player. Now Allen Iverson, he had to work for his. Like, what are we talking about here? Production's production. An unstoppable force is an unstoppable force. And while yes, Giannis was wrong for saying Harden can't pass. Look, I understand beef is beef, and if it's a clapback, it's a clapback. I respect that. But Harden, if you genuinely believe this, you're being extremely ignorant to the intricacies of the game of basketball. And I never thought I'd have to say that to James Harden. How are you just ignoring how much positioning matters, how much making the right play matters, and also, you guys are just ignoring his skill on a whole nother side of the court. For Giannis to be able to switch every pick and roll and guard perimeter players is not just pure athleticism. I don't say this much, but if y'all really think that, you should stop talking about basketball. For Giannis to be as effective as he is not just him being tall. You guys are being naive if you guys don't believe that. And if I'm being honest, this criticism is a good sign. When people have to reach this much to discredit your play and your output, well, let's just say it takes a very special player to be nitpicked like this. A very special player. And I'm not saying James Harden is not more skilled than Giannis. I believe he is. But the big picture, what does that mean really? What does that mean? Is he better than him as a player? Does it mean that he's a better MVP candidate? No. Height's just the nature of basketball, and it does select out and reward taller players. The same way a 5'10" guy would have to work much harder to get in the NBA than a 6'5" shooting guard like James Harden. I mean, I guess by Harden's logic in 2017, Isaiah Thomas had to be the better player because he had to learn basketball more than Harden and be more skilled to average 29 points as a 5'9" point guard in the league, right? That's how this works, right? You know, I'm honestly fine with James Harden saying it. Giannis has taken a lot of shots at Harden that may have deemed to be insulting, and Harden has all the right to do the same. But please, just know if you're a fan of his and you're using this logic to discredit what Giannis is doing, stop it. Stop it. But that's enough of my rant about that. Going back to the main focal point of this video, when it comes to what entails as a season deserving of a unanimous MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo checks all the boxes. Historical numbers, check. Leading his team to one of the best records in the league, cross that one of the best records in league history, check. Is the gap between everyone else and him big enough? Check. But Giannis' season goes beyond the MVP award. Giannis is actually making a case for the greatest season in NBA history, or at least one of them, as Giannis Antetokounmpo has a legitimate chance of being the first player in NBA history to win a unanimous MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and lead his team to 70+ wins. No one in history has done that. The closest someone has gotten to doing that is LeBron James, widely regarded as the second best player of all time at the peak of his powers. That is how dominant Giannis Antetokounmpo has been in the 2019-2020 season. If y'all like this video, please leave a like on it. 5,000 likes is the goal. I think I went ham on the recording. I don't think I've ever went this ham on a recording for a video. But here we are because I'm trying to give y'all the best content I can make. Period, point blank. I've been trying really hard the past 2 videos to be innovative and value the content of my videos way more than I have in the past. So again, a like will definitely be appreciated. It only takes 2 seconds and it helps the channel big time. If you want to see a video on how I talk about the sad truth about Kyrie Irving's career, go ahead and watch this video on the screen right now. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace.